Men of Reddit, what's a thing that can be scary about being a man? Story 1. It is terrifying how lonely middle age is. I can absolutely understand why so many middle-aged men commit suicide. I'm actually trying hard to get out and meet people, but it's difficult. I'm an outgoing guy, and it is hard to form friendships with other guys. Then I imagine how all the socially awkward men just don't even bother anymore. Story 2. Everyone expects so much of you and feels they owe you nothing. You must provide, you must defend, you must be solid as a rock, and yet know how to deal with people in the most respectful and submissive way, otherwise you will be the jerk. In all situations, if you are a man, you will never be the victim at first, and if you are, shame on you because you are not strong enough. You are responsible for everyone, but no one needs to worry about you. Two men fighting, both are stupid, violent men just doing toxic men things. The reason for the fight does not matter, there are no victims here, and then the loneliness. No one wants to be friends with you. I mean, as far as we know, any man is a potential rapist, robber, or killer, right? It is okay to discriminate man because they can handle it like a man, can't they? Story 3. Being expected to make the first move always gets me super anxious. I hate the idea of misreading a situation or making a woman uncomfortable, so I tend to disregard a lot of obvious hints when I first start seeing someone. Story 4. When I was a teenage boy, my sister fell into a river. My dad put his hand on my back and pushed me in after her, saying, "Go get her." Her leg was stuck on something, but I got it free and she swam back to shore. I, however, was pinned by branches under the water that had somehow gotten around me. I remember looking up at the water's surface and seeing the silhouettes of my family members walking away from the edge and thinking, no, wait. Long story short, my fight-or-flight system kicked in and I scrambled as hard as I could to free myself and eventually got free and came up to take the best breath ever. When I was crawling back on the sand, my dad, sister, and brother were about 100 yards down the bank. He turned and said, "Come on," and I hurried after while gagging on water. That about sums up my experience so far. People just expect you to be okay in obviously dangerous situations. I knew guys who drank themselves to death because liquor is easy, but saying, "I need help," is hard. Story 5. In my last relationship, I got cheated on. She spread rumors that I was abusive and violent to hide the fact she was an unloyal person. I had to find out through her best friend messaging me asking me if it was true because I seemed like the nicest person and she wanted to know the truth. I explained and she was shocked. I was shocked. I didn't think she'd stoop lower than she had done already. I'm lucky no one took her seriously enough to contact the authorities. Story 6. I am pretty young, but somehow this shit still happens. I was playing with my sisters at the park and we were playing tag. At one point, this middle-aged lady comes up to my sisters and asks if they know me, how they know me, and whatever. I come up to her and say, "Those are my sisters," and she just gives me the stink eye, ignores me, and turns back to my sisters and keeps interrogating them. It was only after my mom came to see what was going on that the lady left. BTW, I'm in middle school and have been mistaken for being 11 years old, so I don't know what that lady thought I was doing. Story 7. You have almost no control over what will happen to your kids if your son wants to leave or make things up to get them taken away from you. I do not have children, but I have seen terrible things happen to friends who lost their kids and have read stories online of men losing their children. A woman can do many terrible things, go to prison for them, and come back out with the possibility of seeing their kids. A woman can say a man is unfit to be a father, even if he is a great dad, and just on word alone that man may never see his kids again. Also, if a woman becomes pregnant and decides to have the child, the father can say he doesn't want kids but will still have to pay for them after they are born. If a woman becomes pregnant and doesn't want the child, it doesn't matter if the man says he wants to be a father or even that he will raise it without her help. She can go terminate the pregnancy without any questions asked by anyone. My best friend's ex-wife left him a month after she gave birth to their son. She just left the kid with him and ran off with some other guy. They are divorced and she all of suddenly misses her son now. She can come to see him whenever she wants. If my friend would have left his son with her and then decided to come back and see his son, he would have had to go through a legal process just in the hopes of being able to see him, and he may not even get that chance. I just think it's really messed up that men have no choice in the matter most of the time. Story 8. Being seen alone with a child. Doesn't matter if I'm the father or babysitting or helping a lost child in a grocery store. I'm automatically a predator. And I'm not saying we should just trust all men who are alone with random children. I'm saying that female predators also exist. Story 9. Laying next to your wife on the verge of a complete mental breakdown from depression and stress, but knowing you cannot show that because she'll lose respect for you and ultimately leave you. Knowing that society has no interest in men's mental health, only that a man with depression cannot provide as well as a man without. Knowing that not a single person other than yourself can fix it. Knowing that as a man you truly are on your own regardless of what anyone else says. Story 10. You could be the most depressed person on the planet and no one would give a shit. It's something I've been thinking about recently and it's making me even more depressed. Story 11. I don't know if it is actually scary for me, but awkward and something I overthink. I am over 2.5 meters, can kind of come off as intimidating due to that alone, but I'm really just a teddy bear. At my job, I have to walk through a dark alley in a downtown area to get to the parking lot. Lots of times, there are women walking back to go to their cars as well, and then my lumbering loner self is walking behind them. I feel awkward and scared they are going to think I am going to hurt them or I'm going to rob them or something. I'm just trying to get home. I follow farther behind, always act as inconspicuous as possible, which probably makes me more suspicious. Get on my phone like I am texting or act like I am calling someone so they can hear I am far behind them and not stalking up on them. Maybe it's just my social awkwardness or the fact there is a lot of crime that happens in our town, but I don't want to be seen as a threat by people I would never hurt. Story 12. You're pretty much on your own, less of your problems are taken seriously, you're seen as weak if you can't sort them out. You're expected to throw yourself in harm's way at a moment's notice. The courts look at you less favorably, so does a large portion of society. You're seen as a potential rapist and child molester. I love kids, but God forbid I smile at one in public. You're the one who has to be able to sort everything out, even if you sometimes feel like just curling up in a ball and crying. Story 13. Speaking on behalf of my husband, the sheer expectation that he can shoulder everyone's stress. If you are a man with emotional intelligence, people will simultaneously act like you are both a rare unicorn and that you must take that emotional intelligence and merge it with the men can shoulder it all mentality. This means he's utilized way too often by too many family and friends who don't make any emotional effort. He's asked to manage everyone's drama. He doesn't, but the sheer expectation that he won't burn out simply because he's a man is hard to watch. Story 14. No assumed support network. Too many men become isolated and lonely because they cannot share their emotions with their friends. Government services will also put you right to the bottom of every list, so don't become homeless. Story 15. This one's a lot less serious than the other answers, but having to be the one to make the first move with a girl is utterly terrifying. I asked the girl I'd been crushing on for her number a few days ago, and even though it worked out, I felt like I was about to throw up from all the nerves. Story 16. Being told that because you're a man, you aren't allowed to succumb to your chronic lower back pain. That you're less of a man because you have some days where you have trouble walking or even getting out of bed because it hurts to even breathe. Edit. To everyone who has commented with their stories so far and the more I'm sure to come, thank you all. I truly appreciate the support I've gotten for my own situation, as well as being able to see what others are going through and that it doesn't have to be gone through alone. I thank you all, and I'm sorry. I more than likely won't be able to respond to everyone, but I will do my damnedest to at least read all I can. Please know that if anyone wants to play a game online with me to forget the pain or just to do something other than hurt, I will be happy to try and find something to join you on if that's something you're interested in or want to do. Story 17. In some circumstances, you can be blamed for inappropriate behavior, even if you didn't intend for it, and still not be able to justify it. Sometimes you're expected to make the first move or show dominance, like when proposing or leading a group to do something. That you can get a boner at any second, and if someone sees it, it either becomes a joke or an embarrassment. And if you get hit down there, then you know what happens. Excruciating pain plus a danger of becoming impotent or related complications. Edit. Am I dumb if I looked at that award and thought it was a chicken eating chicken wings, and later realized it's Santa's hand, thanks BTW. Story 18. I'm in college, so I often go to the library cafeteria late at night. It is the most uncomfortable thing to walk back home to my dorm room that a girl in front of me is also walking to. I have to force myself to stop walking or really slow down because I never want the girl to feel uncomfortable. I'd imagine it's a lot more uncomfortable for the girl in front of me, but I am truly terrified of being seen as creepy or as a stalker. You can share your own story in the comments below.